Hello and welcome. In this video I'm going to explain the why of these chains that we usually do at the end of rows or even rounds. Each stitch has a different length. For example, the single crochet is a short stitch, the half double is a medium length stitch. It's slightly longer than the single crochet. The double crochet is even longer than the half double, and the treble is longer than the double crochet. So each stitch requires a different amount of chains when you turn. Let's say we are working here with the treble, so you get at the end of the row, you work your last treble, and then you are ready, you finish your row, you turn, you make 4 chains, or the pattern might say make 4 chains, so 1 2 3 and 4, and then you can start to work your stitches, your new stitches into the stitches here. Now, and you might ask, but why we made this chain? Let's say that we get at the end, okay, you do your last stitch, and we turn and we don't chain, and we start in the first stitch, we make a treble, so we yarn over twice, and already it's a bit awkward to get right in here, but we still try. We a bit too tight, we still try, we get in there, you pull up a loop, yarn over, so we pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and then yarn over and pull through the last 2. What do you get? You get a blob, not a stitch. The best way that I can explain it for you to remember is, if you are at the ground floor and you want to get at the first floor, you either need the stairs, a lift, a ladder, if you go from the outside of the place, but you still need something to get you to the height, to the level that you want. The same thing is with this. We need something that will take us to the height that we want in order to work all the stitches. The chain changes depending on the type of stitch that you are making. So if you are making a single crochet, you only need 1 chain. So you turn, you make 1 chain, and then you work into the first stitch. I don't mind to do chains for the single crochet or the half double crochet. You can make them very tight. You work your first stitch into the first stitch of the previous row, and it's all very easy. Or if you see, it's nice and clean, or if you want, you can also, because the stitch is so short, so you finish your row, you turn, you make this loop a tiny bit looser, and then directly into the first stitch, no chain, you can make your single crochet. There. No need of chain if you don't like them. See? When I do the single crochet, I prefer to make a very tight chain 1 that I'm not going to use. It's only to take me to the height, so I'll do it very tight, and then I'll do my first stitch. And it has a nice edge. With the half double crochet, I also make 2 very tight, so you get at the end of the row, you turn, make 2 very tight chains, and then you start directly into the first stitch and do your stitches there. And the chain is not so large, you know, that you say it bothers me. I don't know, it's fine for me. Maybe you might not like it, but I will tell you another way that you can deal with chains, or actually not making chains. So with the half double, I do keep the chains, because usually I will put a border here, or I will sew the edge with another edge, so I don't mind. With the double crochet, you should do 3 chains to get you to the height of the stitch. So you get at the end of the row, you turn, you make 1, 2, and 3, and this is where I don't like the chains. 3 chains are a little bit too much. When you make 3 chains, 4 or 5, the pattern might say to count this chain as a stitch. So if this chain count as a stitch, you will make your first stitch into the second stitch of the row, because this chain counts as the first stitch. So like if it's coming out of here, the first stitch, so the second stitch will be this one here. You make the double, and you will have usually this huge space here. Other patterns might tell you to chain 3, and anyway do your first double into the first stitch. So you go into the first stitch, make your double, and you have still have this chain 3 here that is kind of bumpy, as you can see from this sample. See? Same thing, or even much worse, with the treble, as you can see here, because you have this chain, and either if you work into the first stitch or you don't, it's still going to look 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's still going to look ugly. Even if you skip the first stitch and work in the second, you are still gonna have, oh, sorry, I was missing a yarn over, so 1 and 2. Let's say we start into the second, because the chain counts as a stitch, and then you have this. Even worse than making the chain and working into the first stitch. I really don't like it. So an alternative to these long chains, for example the chain 3 for the double crochet and the chain 4 for the treble, would be to make a starting double. So you get at the end of your row, this is the double crochet. As you can see, this is the front of the double crochet, and this is the back of the stitch, what it looks like. You will always have a head that it looks the exact same in all of the stitches. Whatever stitch you do, from just one stitch, one small stitch, to a cluster of 5, they will all look like this at the top. So this is the head of the stitch, and this is the body of the single crochet. Or you can call them legs, because it's 2 loops, legs and head, or body and head. Same thing with the half double. As you can see, there is the head of the stitch and the body. Here we can actually see the 2 legs. Then there is this loop, which you can call the body, legs, body, and head of the stitch. In the double, we have the head like all the others. We have the legs, the body, another 2 legs. It looks exactly like a single crochet, this top part of the double. See? The 2 legs and then the top. And then you have this other part. For the treble, same thing. Look, this looks like a single crochet. This up here looks like a single crochet. So head, legs, body. So an alternative to the chains are the standing or starting double crochet, half double, treble, etc. Instead of making the chains, so you get at the end of the row, you turn. From here, you make one single crochet into the first stitch. So you go into the first stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through two. Now, pull a little bit, go under this leg, this loop here of the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through two. We basically made two single crochet, one on top of the other, instead of the chain 3. And this has taken us to the height that we need to work all the other stitches. See, there is no extra space, like, I don't know, here, for example, here, where I have the chain 3. You see? Another way of doing this, I will show you with a double here. You get at the end, you turn, you pull this loop, you hold it tight, and you go under, and you now have two loops. Always hold here. You get into the first stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, and I lost my loop. You hold here and you go under this loop and continue to hold. You get into the first stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through two, yarn over, pull through the last two loops, and we have a starting double. Yarn over, make your next stitch, and I strongly advise you to always put a stitch marker on a starting stitch, because the head is not attached to anything, so it's easy that you lose it, but it will still look like the usual V, you see. So instead of making the chain, you can make a starting double, and it does look actually like all the other stitches. You can do the same with the half double crochet. So you get at the end, you turn, so you can either do two single, one on top of the other. So you do the single and then you get into this loop here. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through two. And then you continue with your half double crochet. You see? The top of the stitch is right here. Looks pretty nice and clean, straight edge. For the treble, you do the same. You get at the end, you turn, and we can do here either 3 single crochet, one on top of the other. So you pull a little bit more the loop, not much. You get into the first stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through two, first single. Now get into this loop on the side, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through two, and once again you get into, so this is the top of the stitch, the V. This is, see, the side. You get into this loop, yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over, pull through two, and we made a starting or standing treble crochet, and then you can work on your second stitch. Now this makes things a bit easier, because when you make the chain and then either you work into the first stitch or you make the chain and then skip the first stitch, a lot of people get confused, and then it's when they start to work many stitches at the edge, and the work started to go like that, to get larger and larger. In this way you work a stitch into your first stitch, so there's nothing, you know, difficult to remember. You just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like all the other stitches. And we can also do the longer loop method here. So you turn, you make a long loop, longer than for the double and the half double. Go under, always hold here, hold tight, go under. No, we need to yarn over 3 times here, so make it long and then go 1 and 2, and it's not enough, so go pretty long and then go once and twice. Okay, now get into the first stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2, and we have the starting double. Let me make the second one and then we put the stitch marker at the top of the stitch. 1, 2 and 3, and here is the top of the stitch. See? Okay, so I'll show you here then what to do in the next row. So I'm getting here at the end of this side. I will do the same thing as I did at the start of this row. So a standing treble and 3. So at the end you turn, you pull a very long loop, yarn over twice, and see if you can yarn over twice without trouble or having to pull too much. So once, sorry, I want to, it's all twisted. Okay, so once and twice you get into the first stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2. You continue, or remember, you can also make 3 single crochet, one on top of the other. And I will show you how you work normally when you get at the end where we have the starting or standing double treble. And you can use this method also when you work in the round. If you are not working in a spiral but in a closed round, meaning that you work your round and then you close it, you do a slip stitch, chain 1, 2, 3 or 4 to get you to the next level, and then continue and close the next round and continue again. So if you're working in a closed round, you can use the same, either doing the single crochet one on top of the others, or with the longer loop. And actually there might be even other methods. As you know, people always come up, you know, with new ways of doing things, which is great for a crochet, because there were no innovations for quite a while. So I'm very happy now that, you know, people are taking on a crochet and coming up with all sorts of new things. So here is the starting treble that we did. So you just go under the 2 loops as you would in any other stitch. Go under, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. We can remove the stitch marker, and as you can see, it's nice and straight. It looks, I think, pretty nice. So just to remind you again, so for the single crochet you can do a chain 1 or just don't do any chain at all. You can still work the single crochet fine. You turn, no chains, no nothing, just make the loop a little bit looser, get into the first stitch and work it. Or you can make a chain 1, turn, and then work into the first stitch. And if you don't have to work into these chains, I never work into the chains, but if you have to work into the chains, do not make them tight, or it will be super difficult then to work into a tight chain. With the half double you can do chain 2 or do the starting half double either with the longer loop or with 2 single crochet. For the double crochet, where you should do 3 chains, you can do the starting or standing double crochet, so either with 3 single crochet, one on top of the other, or even 2 are fine. So the double crochet, for the height that it has, you should do 3 chains, but in reality even 2 chains like you do for the half double are absolutely fine to get you to the height that you need for the double. See, if you want to stick with the chains, you can even make just 2 chains, make them super tight so you won't even see them. The treble that it would require 4 chains to get you to the height that you need, you can do 3 single crochet, one on top of the other, or the long loop. And if you do chains, remember you can either, you finish your row, you can chain 1 and turn and then work into the first stitch, or you can make the chain after you turn. So you turn and then you chain. I actually prefer to chain and then I turn. So I hope this will help you with finally understanding what these chains are. So when you start a project, let's say you want to do a rectangle to make a panel for a sweater, you count how many chains to work your stitches into you need. Let's say you need 100, 50, and then when you decide what stitch you want to work, you work these side chains only to get us to the height that we need to work the stitch. I hope you now find these chains much easier and you finally understood when you need to make them, why and how many chains. I hope you enjoyed this video. Bye!